Coming up on Cronkite News, a new state Senate bill that could place restrictions on the pronouns students are allowed to use in school.
Plus, Phoenix Children's Hospital recently completed a new pediatric lab designed just for testing sleep.
And later, we're at Footprint Center where the Suns have a chance to advance tonight.
News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Connor McGill.
And I'm Maria Stobbs. Thank you for joining us.
Advocacy organizations gathered in front of the Capitol for Advocacy Day today.
Cronkite News reporter Madison Perales is at the Capitol with more information on what was discussed.
The Arizona Center for Empowerment and the People Economy were at the Capitol today to push for a better livelihood, according to activists.
The plan was to hold the conference in a Capitol room, but there were so many people that they were forced to do the speeches outside on the Senate lawn. Democratic minority leaders Andres Cano and Denise Epstein were not able to make the event due to a bill meeting. But the overall points the advocates made today were about affordable housing.
We demand the end to corporate welfare and to use our money on us.
Better education.
Investment in Arizona students is an investment in the future of our state,
as well as corporate tax fairness and paid family medical leave. The speeches left the audience fired up and empowered. The hope is for the state to hear their voices and evoke change.
This day was an example of what activists consider a push for change in the state. At the Capitol, Madison Perales, Cronkite News.
Today, President Biden announced he will be running for a second term for presidency.
This comes the same day the White House threatened to veto the Speaker of the House debt ceiling plan. The president wants future spending decisions to be negotiated separately. The Limit, Save, Grow Act that McCarthy released last week would give less breathing room than normal. The legislation would also allow to eliminate Biden's student loan forgiveness plan and end tax incentives for companies that invest in green energy, among other things. President Biden's campaign for re-election focuses on finishing the job that he started a mere 2 years ago.
A new Senate bill places restrictions on student pronouns usage in schools. I looked into how this could affect the LGBTQ community here in Phoenix. Senate Bill 1001, introduced by State Senator John Kavanaugh, would make it illegal for school employees to use the preferred pronouns of trans or non-binary students without written permission from parents.
A school employee who has a religious or moral objection to referring to somebody by a pronoun not aligned with their biological at birth gender doesn't have to do so.
According to a report from the Williams Institute, 7,300 youth in Arizona ages 13 to 17 identify as transgender. Cato Stewart, a director at 1 in 10, a nonprofit which provides a safe space for LGBTQ+ youth in Arizona, says students are worried about the bill.
They're concerned for what's going to happen, they're concerned for their safety, and they're concerned for their peers and their friends.
Stewart says forced outing of students could remove their ability to have trusted adults at school.
It could possibly make them face additional barriers at home, like things like not being affirmed for their gender identity, maybe being kicked out for being LGBT, or even possibly being sent to conversion therapy.
Other lawmakers, including Lorena Austin, the first non-binary, non-gender conforming legislator in Arizona, also view the bill as harmful. She spoke at a House Appropriations meeting earlier this month.
I cannot imagine being 14 again and having a bill like this come through, because I grew up in a community where I knew I would not be accepted, I knew I would not be supported in my home or in public.
According to the Trevor Project, 28% of LGBTQ youth reported experiencing homelessness or housing instability at some point in their lives.
I had teachers, multiple teachers text me right now, say that they had students in middle school say that they could not come out because a family member lived with them and told them if they were ever to come out that they would kill them. Another teacher texted me that they had a student come out to them. They told their parents and they were kicked out of their homes.
But Kavanaugh says if families react poorly, the child can get help from the school.
They can have a counselor from the school talk to the parents, or even have Child Protective Services contact the family. Parents have a right to know about significant things in the child's life. They have the right to know so they can get the child's care And employees shouldn't be forced to engage in behaviors that they have religious or moral objections to doing.
Trevor Project also found that 86% of transgender and non-binary youth say recent debates around anti-trans bills have negatively impacted their mental health. The bill passed in the Senate, and it's still being read in the House.
Phoenix Children's Hospital has just finished a new project that has been under construction for the last year. It is a new pediatric sleep lab for EEGs and other sleep testing. Cronkite News reporter Tabitha Bland toured the new lab and saw the technology being used.
Sleep tests like EEGs and EKGs monitor heart and brain activity while the patient is asleep. For kids, this can be scary, making it difficult for them to get comfortable and fall asleep. I talked with parents of patients about how the planning process for the new sleep lab was unique.
Simple joys in life.
Excited chatter and laughter. That is the reaction from parents when seeing the new sleep lab at Phoenix Children's Hospital for the very first time. They are joined by Dr. Gerard, Director of Clinical Neurophysiology at Phoenix Children's.
This is our new and expanded neurophysiology lab.
The lab is used for sleep-based testing that diagnoses and monitors brain disorders.
We record the child's brain waves over 30 to 50 minutes. We record it while they're awake and while they are asleep.
The planning process began in 2021 with the help of the Patient Family Advisory Council.
You need a comfortable parent to have a comfortable child, so it is essential. And one of our main priorities is patient comfort and satisfaction, but that in itself leads to a well-done, accurate study that is easy to interpret.
This entire lab revolves around, well, sleep, and comfort is super important for a proper rest. That's why lighting is so important. Think about trying to fall asleep in a room like this. Now, what if it looked a little bit more like this? The patient and the parent can rest peacefully over here, but just steps away, if medical personnel needs to work, they have the light to do so.
Anytime you have to bring your children to the hospital for testing, let's be honest, it's stressful.
Brittany Miller is a mother who knows this hospital well.
Having a child who's been here for 13 years, had countless of these tests done, it can be stressful.
She says that lighting is just one of the many focuses of the Patient Family Advisory Council.
We got to provide input on the colors, the design, even the soft doors closing, the lights.
The lab will open on April 27th.
It's a lot different looking at the blueprints and rather being in person.
Parents and doctors are ready after 2 years of planning.
I love seeing the kids and taking care of them, and seeing them happy and comfortable is extremely important for me.
The project took about 2 years to complete and cost nearly $4.5 million. The new lab will open its doors to patients on Thursday. In the newsroom, Tabitha Bland, Cronkite News.
If you're planning on traveling out of the country this summer, listen up, because getting your passport right now is more challenging than usual. After the break, find out why and what you should be doing right now to plan for your next trip abroad.
Now streaming on the PBS app, the definitive collection of documentaries from award-winning filmmaker Ken Burns.
Hemingway, the man, is much more interesting than the myth.
It is a story that Americans have to reckon with.
He's got my job, I'm the champ.
Discover over 40 groundbreaking films that bring our history to life. Stream the Ken Burns collection now with Passport on the PBS app.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station.
I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell.
I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please Arizona.
Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
If you're looking to travel outside of the country this summer and you haven't already gotten a passport, you may have to rethink your plans.
Cronkite News reporter Alexia Stambridge tells us what it takes to get a passport this year.
Recently, the U.S. Department of State updated the passport processing times on their website. Because of the high volume of applications, the department said this change better reflects how long it will actually take to get a passport. Previously, to get an expedited passport, it would take between 5 to 7 weeks. Now it takes 7 to 9 weeks. And this time last year, if you applied for a passport under the routine option, it would take about 8 to 11 weeks to process. Now you can expect to wait a few weeks longer, which means it could take over 3 months. This does not include shipping times, which the department said could take an extra 4 weeks total. Ron Oster, the president of Rawhide Travel and Tours in Arizona, says he hasn't seen many delay issues for his customers. But if you're worried about getting a passport in time for your vacation, Oster says try the Passport Center in Tucson, Arizona.
They actually issue the passport there at the passport office, but you have to make an appointment to come in, and that can be hard. They may say, well, we don't have an appointment till June. But when you walk in the morning with all of your paperwork, your birth certificate, the money to pay for the passport, the 2 pictures that you need to get the passport, when you leave that evening, you will have your passport in your hand.
You can still make an appointment to get a passport at a post office. A quick check of nearby appointments online showed availability on only 1 day in May. There are also commercial businesses that claim to help get your passport faster. Mainly, they help expedite the delivery process. Oster says to avoid panic, it's best to book your trip about 11 months in advance, or at least as far out as possible. At the touchscreen, Alexia Stambridge, Cronkite News.
NASA is planning to launch 2 storm tracking satellites this Sunday.
These satellites, called CubeSats, are part of NASA's collaborative mission with Rocket Lab. Their mission is dubbed Tropics, which is fitting. They're measuring precipitation, structure, and storm intensity of tropical cyclones. There's a group of the satellites which they call a constellation of CubeSats. The NASA claims will make more frequent storm observations than current satellites in orbit. They hope Tropics will help scientists understand changes in storm structure to improve weather forecasting models for future reference.
Thankfully, we're not seeing severe weather like cyclones here in Arizona anytime soon.
That's right, Maria, but we may be seeing triple digits. Ariana Riza has more in our weather center. Ariana?
That's right, Connor. We are warming up out here in the valley. So if you plan on going to the Suns game tonight, you are going to see some really nice high 80s, where temperatures are going to drop down to the lower 80s around the time the game is done. If your allergies have been bugging you a lot lately, the wind isn't going to help. So you definitely want to make sure you keep those windows up tonight, because for those levels, we are seeing lower levels with weeds, trees, and mold, but we are seeing high levels in grass. Let's take a look at our low temperatures for tomorrow, where we're still seeing freezing temperatures up in the high country with a low 30 at the Grand Canyon, 32 in Flagstaff. We're down here in the lower country. We are seeing some really nice 50s and 60s. We are going to see some really warm temperatures throughout the state tomorrow, where our highest is going to be 94 in Yuma, with our lowest high being 63 in Flagstaff and a 90 down here in the valley. We are very close to seeing our first triple digit of this year, so let's go ahead and take a look at some stats. Days at or above 100 degrees annually is 111, where the average first 100-degree day is around early May. The first 100-degree day on record was 100 degrees, and that was March 26, 1988. Let's take a look at those warming temperatures. At our 7-day forecast, we're seeing temperatures warm up to 95 on Friday, taking us into our weekend with our first triple digit on Sunday. Temperatures are going to start to drop down next week, where we're going to see some sunny skies and a high 93 on Tuesday. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Ariana Ariza.
The Phoenix Suns are back at the Footprint Center tonight, trying to close out the Los Angeles Clippers. I'll have you covered on all that and more on today's Cronkite Sports Report after the break. Plus, we meet ASU softball player Jordan Van Hook, who is making a positive impact on her team this season.
And that's the way it is. Monday, September.
Newscasting has changed a lot since the time of Walter Cronkite. That's why here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, you can learn the studio production skills of today in real time. Whether you want to work audio, direct, technical direct, design graphics, or you can even run the floor. It's all part of the Television Production and Graphics Lab here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We're going on in 3, 2...
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Suns are leading the Clippers 3-1 in their first-round matchup. In the big blow for LA, Kawhi Leonard is once again out for tonight's matchup, while the Suns have a chance to advance to the second round of the playoffs. For key players Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, their impact on the team's playoff run has been crucial. And while they've been balling, DeAndre Ayton says the duo has set clear expectations.
Us having KD, I feel like, KD's kind of set the bar, for those two to really just go out and understand that they are who they are, and they carrying us in every game. So I think the expectation every night for booking him is out the window.
The NCAA softball season is coming to a close, and the Arizona State Sun Devils are limping towards the finish line. The season was highlighted by a 15-3 start, and as Zach Woodard tells us, a big reason for the success was senior Jordan Van Hook, who currently leads the Pac-12 in home runs and is tied for 5th in the country.
Breakout star of Arizona State softball team this season has been senior Jordan Van Hook. Van Hook is one of the nation's leaders in home runs this year after a rigorous offseason of training.
I just went back home and just really grinded. Obviously, that was a goal for me to come back and have a successful year. So I just worked really hard with my dad, hitting, working out with my personal trainer back at home, and just doing all the stuff I needed to prepare for this season.
After little to no playing time in the outfield for her first 3 years, Van Hook made the decision to enter the transfer portal, one of 8 girls from last year's squad. And after teaching herself how to play first base over the fall, she decided to return to Arizona State for her 4th year, a decision that has paid off massively.
Just had people just be behind my corner, kind of self-taught, and just making that little adjustment as best as I can to get myself in the lineup every day. So it worked out.
Uncertainty surrounding ASU's head coaching situation after the departure of Trisha Ford last season led Van Hook to enter the transfer portal. But once Megan Bartlett was hired to take over the program, Van Hook decided she wanted to finish what she started in Tempe with her teammates.
I am glad that she did decide to come back, but I honestly wasn't
surprised, but I knew that she was going to come back just because, I mean, she had something to prove, and that's what she's doing now.
The first baseman is making an impact off the field as well. The senior is also a leader in the dugout. It didn't take long for Bartlett to notice the command that Van Hook has on the team.
She's just an outstanding kid. She's mature, she's kind, she's a great teammate. When she does speak, it's one of those kids that everybody listens, right? They want to know what she has to say, and really, I think Jordan's opinions just carry so much value.
Seeing the Diamond for the first time as a consistent starter this season, Van Hook has let her bat do most of the talking. In Tempe, Zach Woodard, Cronkite Sports.
The Arizona Cardinals are getting set for the NFL Draft on Thursday in Kansas City, and analysts speculate that they'll be eager to trade their third overall pick. But Jonathan Gannon, he's not going to be distracted by that Kansas City barbecue. He says they will be aggressive in his first draft as head coach.
I honestly don't pay attention too much to outside mock drafts and opinions of players. We have a good process that we go through to vet all that, and that's been going on for a couple months here now. But excited for next Thursday, and you guys should be too, because we got a really good plan.
Phoenix Rising completely overhauled its roster this past offseason. One name they brought in was Emil Cueto, a former MLS draft pick and SMU Mustang who's bringing his talents to the Valley. Cronkite Sports reporter Nick Patrisky has more on his story.
One of Phoenix Rising's 18 new additions is attacking midfielder Emil Cueto. Cueto moved from Argentina to Utah when he was 5 years old, but his passion for the beautiful game came up with him to the States.
As an Argentinian, I was raised with a lot of passion for football, so that's why I'm out here now.
After playing the travel soccer circuit, Cueto decided to attend SMU, where he played all 4 years, being named AAC First Team All-Conference his senior year. Cueto began his career in MLS, where he was drafted 19th overall by the LA Galaxy in the MLS Super Draft, with zero guarantee that he would even make the final roster cut.
Unless you're drafted Generation Adidas, you have no guaranteed contract. So I was drafted, but I knew that I was not signed on the team.
Cueto earned his contract and played 2 years in LA before playing for San Antonio FC and Sacramento Republic. Now in Phoenix, Cueto started the first 5 games of the season playing all over the pitch.
He's a player that has added the most minutes in the squad, not just in the regular season or Open Cup, also in preseason. And he's a guy that's played multiple positions for us, and I think he's done a good job in all of them.
During the first 5 games of the season, Cueto played each game with a partially torn labrum, an injury that the midfielder is currently recovering from.
The recovery process is pretty quick. It's just like 5 days of pretty much no very light load.
But when healthy and on the field, Cueto creates danger for opposing defenders.
He just reads the game really well. He knows what he's able to do, and we know what he's able to do on the ball, so we try to get it to him as much as possible to create that danger for us.
In Phoenix, Nicholas Patrisky, Cronkite Sports.
The Suns will be at Footprint Center for a 7 o'clock tip-off against the Los Angeles Clippers tonight. Should Phoenix win the series, they'll move on to face either the Denver Nuggets or Minnesota Timberwolves, with the Nuggets currently leading that series 3-1. That does it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. The cameras are being set up. The fans, they're starting to pile in. They're getting ready. Maria and Connor, are you ready?
I know I'm ready. Many people treat their dogs like family. Well, the furry companions are even allowed to sit and sleep on the same furniture as their humans.
And it's become more common for dogs to eat alongside their owners and at the dinner table, and snack a snack when someone's cooking in the kitchen. Now dogs can take their dinner to a whole new level. After the break, we'll tell you what the FDA says about dogs dining out.
That's the way it is. Monday, September.
Newscasting has changed a lot since the time of Walter Cronkite. That's why here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, you can learn the studio production skills of today in real time. Whether you want to work audio, direct, technical direct, design graphics, or you can even run the floor. It's all part of the Television Production and Graphics Lab here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We're going on in 3, 2...
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
and develop your skills with the latest technology.
Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Restaurants with patrons are often hotspots for patrons who want to bring their pup along for their outing.
And according to the FDA, there has been a change to last year's food code, saying health rules, quote, allow for pet dogs in outdoor dining areas where approved.
Dogs still aren't allowed indoors, but this update encourages restaurants to allow furry friends in outdoor seating areas.
It's completely up to the establishments to allow pets, but if they allow them, the FDA says they can't discriminate and they must accept all dog breeds. As long as your pooch knows basic commands and doesn't wander inside, they don't pose a risk to the sanitation of food items.
Well, that's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.